All right, good afternoon. We're going to continue with our media availabilities this afternoon. We've now been joined by Carl Edwards, our most recent winner. Last weekend took home the trophy in the Southern 500. Carl, talk a little bit about last week's victory, but really what this week's been like, and coming into Richmond, already locked in the chase, and talk about your team's, just mindset going into tomorrow night's race.
Well, last week was a blast, and it took a couple of days for that to sink in that we actually won the Southern 500. It was a huge win for us, and so for us coming here, it's really just a fun race for us. I've come here with so much pressure before trying to make the chase, and it definitely is nice to be here with 2 wins, locked into the chase. We can just go out and have a little bit of fun. Our Aris Toyota Camry was really pretty good in practice. Although with everything that happens here, it's tough to gauge how we'll be in the race. But it is one of my favorite racetracks. It's a blast to race here at Richmond, and hopefully just have a little bit of more fun before the chase starts and all the seriousness begins.
All right, we'll go ahead and open questions for Carl. If you have one, please raise your hand and state your name and affiliation, and we're going to start in the back.
Carl, Mark Davis from Channel 12 here in Richmond. I'm sure you've gotten a lot of these over this year, but what has Jeff Gordon meant to you as a driver, and then what do you think he's meant to the sport overall?
He's obviously a great competitor, and he's a guy that, in my opinion, opened the doors for a lot of young guys racing at short tracks across the United States, by coming into the sport without a ton of stock car experience and doing well. And I think, it's been neat, to watch his career, and it's been fun to race with him. So, I know he's got a lot of pressure right now to perform this weekend, but if anybody can do it, he can do it.
All right, go ahead.
Carl, Sean Robertson, CBS affiliate in town. You mentioned about having fun tomorrow night with your win last weekend in Darlington. How does the mindset change going into tomorrow night's race, having 2 wins under your belt and your place in the chase locked up?
Well, really, this race is so different for everyone in the field. It depends on your position. A lot of guys everyone's racing for something different. In our particular case, like I said, we've got the 2 wins. We're locked into the chase. We don't have to. We don't come back here until next year, so this is really just a fun race for us. We get to go out, lay it all on the line, take chances, try things with strategy or driving styles that maybe would be a little more risky and we wouldn't do if if we were in a championship battle. So it really is a Saturday night short track race for us, and that's fun. I mean, it's neat to be able to be in that position, because in this sport, as competitive as it is, you don't get those chances a lot just to go have a good time.
All right, we're going to go Kenny Bruce and then Dustin Long, and we'll take a few additional ones. Thank you.
Kenny Bruce, NASCAR.com. Carl, you kind of touched on a little bit of this, but obviously if this was a 1.5 mile track, there might be something here that you guys could use, or at least you'd have some additional information going into the chase races. Because this race, like you said, you won't be here until next year, is there anything you can take out of this weekend?
Maybe a little bit for Phoenix, but now that the surfaces are so different, it's hard to say. I mean, really, we've just been trying overall to prepare ourselves for this chase, and like you say, this track doesn't really apply to many of the chase tracks. So, it's really just it's an opportunity to get a win, it's an opportunity to get a few points, and there really isn't a lot of carryover. This is a pretty unique racetrack.
Okay, and also, I know we've seen in past years leading into the chase, you guys have done a lot of different things. The drivers have gone across the country. I think you went to Mexico City. Yeah. Is there anything in particular you're looking forward to going into this year's chase?
I think I get the opportunity to go do some television stuff that'll be pretty fun. It'll be interesting. And, I just talked to the Toyota folks. They're putting on the Chase Fest at Lincoln Park next Thursday. That's supposed to be really neat. I mean, Toyota has been... It's been interesting to get to know them. It's been a lot of fun, and everything they've put into the team has been amazing. So, getting ready or being able to be part of that with them will be neat. But yeah, last year was a lot of fun. I got to fly down to Mexico City, and Cessna helped me out, and that was an adventure piloting down there. I don't have anything that, off the wall planned yet, but who knows? NASCAR sends us all over the place, and I think in the next few weeks, a lot of us will be going to different markets. I think I'm going to Los Angeles, which will be fun, and Yeah, that is kind of a neat part of it when you get to step away from the car and go out and promote our sport and talk about all the neat things that are going on all over the country.
All right, Dustin, go ahead.
Dustin Long, NBC Sports. A couple questions. One, Carl, it seems like this season has kind of been relatively calm in terms of with the drivers, in terms of maybe potential conflict that you would see.
Right.
I think people look at maybe what happened with the chase last year. One, why is it a little bit calm in your eyes, and do you foresee it building like it did? Is it reasonable to expect that or not?
I think it really you can expect the unexpected. I mean, who knows what's going to happen? This sport right now is so competitive, and the restarts are so important. The track position's important. Putting yourself maybe 2 or 3 or 4 wide at some of these tracks, sometimes you have to do it to get position. And I think that everyone, if you really look at it, there aren't a lot of guys on the bubble right now. There's not a lot of people who are lunging for life. But as we get into these chase races and we have the cutoffs, every 3 races, there's no telling what could happen. I don't think there's any reason to think that it would be more tame. I mean, if anything, it'll probably be more intense than it was last year.
And so, you've been in the chase many times before, so in that one sense that's not different. But with the format being different last year, was there much that you learned about that being any different that can carry over, or is a chase is a chase is a chase?
From the outside, I'm sure different people have different perspectives in the garage, but it appeared that the chase last year kind of went like you could have predicted. The fast guys ended up making it to the next rounds, and there wasn't, I think, a large surprise. I know Newman made it to the last round, and they did a great job of making do with what they had. But I don't think there weren't many surprises. I think, but this format provides the framework that, we could have some crazy stuff happen, and I don't know that you can plan for all of it. If you have a situation where 2 or 3 guys get into it or have problems, and then they're fighting for that one final spot to transfer, and they're all fast enough to win, you could have some crazy stuff happen. So I don't think that there's a real strategy. I think you have to treat it like basically 3 little mini seasons in a championship race, and under that format, who knows? I guess what I'm saying is I don't think you can make a plan because it's so dynamic.
We're going to go to John in the purple.
John Householder, NASCAR Productions. As you and your team prepare for the chase, in the first round, is there a specific track that stands out in your mind that you might be a little more confident heading into?
I'd say New Hampshire. We have a lot of confidence there. Sitting, being the pole sitter there, JGR Toyota winning the race with Kyle. I feel really good about that race. I know that with everything that can happen at Dover, I don't want to go into Dover in a bad position, having to battle it out. We talked a little bit about that at the shop. Denny was in that position last year, and it was really tough. And so, we want to come out of the box just really fast. We want to win Chicago or win New Hampshire.
All right, I believe we have 2 in the very back.
Jonathan Merriman, NASCAR.com. Carl, can you talk about the difference in mindset from a team perspective and a driver's perspective, as opposed as now when you guys are fast everywhere, as opposed to in the spring where you were trying to get your legs up under you as an organization and playing catch up a little bit?
I know for me personally, I feel a lot more calm and confident right now than I did at the beginning of the season. I'd say confidence was at 11 before the season started. After about 8 or 9 races, I was kind of coming back to reality, and we had to really dig in and work. And now, just as an organization, it's unbelievable to be driving these Toyotas right now. Everybody at JGR has done a great job. They built cars now. We come to the track and we're fast, and and that's what you've got to have. I think to be competitive against this field in this chase, you have to be getting faster and faster every week, even as fast as we are. I know this is going to be tough. These guys, all of them are going to step up their game, so to speak, for the final 10 races. So yeah, I feel like we can compete now.
All right, okay, go ahead in the back.
Carl, Mark Davis, NBC 12 in Richmond again. Denny's going to race with a torn ACL on Saturday. Have you ever raced with any sort of injury like that, and what challenges can that present, even though you're cleared to race?
Yeah, I think all of us have had, little problems and things that have happened, but it appears, I mean, Denny has raced, if I understand it correctly with this, it's basically the same injury in the other leg, and it didn't seem to slow him down a bit. I mean, getting in and out of the car is probably going to be is the toughest thing. I had a broken foot for a while, and really it was just getting around the garage that was tough. Once you get in the car, the teams are able to tune the pedals and tune the car and make you comfortable. I really don't think it'll slow Denny down much. If anything, it might motivate him. He's a pretty tough guy.
All right, we're going to go to Jim Utter, Lee Spencer, and then up front to Matt. Go ahead.
Utter and motorsport.com. This kind of touches on something you just answered a few minutes ago, but back at the beginning of the season, you were talking about your confidence. The year started. Kyle was out of the race car for 11 races. JD's health issues became public. Just when you look back to the beginning of that year, and now you look at the Gibbs organization as a whole, all 4 drivers have won, all 4 going in the chase. I'm sure if there was an organization somebody was going to bet on right now for having somebody in the hunt for the championship, they would be in it. Just what have you seen from the organization standpoint during the course of what's been a very rocky year as to how things have gone during the course of the season?
I've learned that this organization has a ton of depth, and they have they just have an amazing resolve just to keep working, and it's so neat, to hear the way the guys talk about. We were talking about the different packages and which package we might race in the chase, and one of the technical guys said it doesn't matter. He said whatever package it is, we're going to beat them with it, and I mean that's how they think, and they just keep working. And it's been amazing to see Coach's leadership through all of this. I mean, this is the start of the year. I can only imagine how tough for him all of this was. And if you look at the performance, it's just steadily gone up, and it just seems to be getting better and better. And I think that comes from just people working hard, working together, not losing sight of the goal. And it's neat to be a part of something like that and to see it all come together. With Kyle coming back and then him going on a streak and just everything. It just seems like they keep things moving in a positive direction. So, it's definitely been eye-opening to me and been a lot of fun. Well, I mean, coaches, he is JGR. I mean, he is the guy that keeps everything going. And, I think he's our leader.
All right, Lee. I believe Lee had a question. Thank you.
Lee Spencer, motorsport.com. To kind of follow up on that earlier thing when you said that the chase was like 3,
Right.
playoffs. What is the craziest thing that you think you saw from last year? Because it was so unpredictable. I mean, you can't, we could sit here and debate whether or not the best team won, which, in my opinion, it did. But somebody could come along out of nowhere and just surprise everybody. I mean,
right.
What was it to you that you found so intriguing about last year's playoffs?
I guess, if I had to describe the most notable thing in one word, it'd just be that there's opportunity. The opportunity is there throughout this chase for anyone in the chase to go out and grab that win or grab that spot and move on to the next round. And if I'm not mistaken, I was in the car and trying to keep track of everything, but Ryan and those guys, they about won the championship, and that they took an opportunity to say, hey, we haven't been the fastest car all year, but they came on and strong when it mattered, and they almost grabbed that thing. And that's what's so interesting about this. And I think, everyone, I can't speak for everybody in the field, but I know for myself, I sat back and thought about this chase format, and I thought, man, it doesn't matter what's happened to this point in the year. It doesn't matter really what happens all the way up to Phoenix and Homestead. If you can stay in there and take the opportunities and get it, you can be the champion. And I think for that reason, there'll be a lot of guys really, really going for it. My sense is that the intensity level will be up this year.
All right, we're going to try to squeeze in a few quick more before we have to let Carl get out of here. We're going to do Matt, Kenny, and then the gentleman in the blue. Go ahead, Matt.
Matt Weaver, AutoWeek.com. Traditionally, this race has seen a lot of passing, but I feel like the past 2 years or so, whether it's the Gen 6 or the dual tread tire, that's kind of tapered off a little bit. So my question for you, is that more of a package deal, a tire deal? And with this new right side tire, how do you think the racing will be on Saturday?
It's 100% a function of the teams becoming more and more competitive, and then the package that we run being more aero dependent this track is fast enough that it makes it tough to pass. So, if we can keep working towards the package like we raced last week, I think that'll just get better and better. But this place is unfortunately fast enough that you get some of that, disadvantage when you get close to people because we rely so much on the aerodynamics.
Kenny, go ahead.
Kenny Bruce, NASCAR.com. A couple of quick things, Carl. First of all, you spent so much of your career at Roush Fenway Racing. Are you surprised at all that this could potentially be the first chase that doesn't have a Roush Fenway car in it?
Yes, I am surprised at that, just because I know how good those guys are and how hard they work. It's like I said before. I mean, I would expect at any moment those guys are going to turn the corner. I mean, they really do work hard. They're racers, and I see Jimmy Finnig and Jack here every week, and everybody working hard, and I'm sure they'll get stronger.
Okay, and also talking about Denny's injury, are there any things that you would do except for the fact that you're worried that you could potentially be injured and not get in the car?
I guess, yeah. I mean, you have to think about that. It is tough because you don't want to. You want to go live your life, and you can get hurt doing anything. I mean, really, you can. So, I'd say in general, I don't think about it too much. I go out and do the things that I want to do, but you do have to be conscious of it, and I think everybody is. I don't look at Denny. He's not like a giant risk taker. I mean, he's out. He's working out. He's doing things he loves, and every once in a while something's going to happen. And really, he could go win this race tomorrow night, and it might have no effect. So, I think everybody probably balances a little bit differently.
All right, and our final question. Go ahead.
Nicholas Vanderlog, Progress Index. Carl, apologized if this question came up earlier, but interesting thing to me, earlier in the year, before the season began, Brad said that he would put his top three drivers as yourself, Kevin Harvick, and himself. And at Darlington, we saw you top three running together, and I know he also said something along the lines of, this is separating the Sprint Cup drivers from the pretenders. Yeah. And so as far as the rules package is concerned, in your opinion, what has it done as far as doing that? Is it the car, is it the driver dynamic? And is this rules package from Darlington something you can see the same results from, like Darlington, at all the different tracks on the Sprint Cup circuit?
Well, I really believe, if you just follow things to their logical ends, if the cars are stuck like glue and you never have to lift off of the throttle, anyone could drive the car, and it just becomes a battle of whose car is the best. The more time you spend off of the throttle, the more you have to manage the tires, the softer they are. And by the way, they can be softer when there's less downforce. You get to see the driver's management of the car and their talent more. You get to see the crew chief's talent in calling a race and setting up the car. And I love that style of racing. As a fan growing up, I specifically watched stock car racing because that's the style of racing it was. There are guys sliding around, manhandling the cars. I had no interest in IndyCar racing or anything like that just because it seemed pretty obvious the difference. So I really applaud NASCAR for going that direction at Darlington, for going that direction at Kentucky. And like I've said, that's just some downforce taken away. If some's good, more should be way better. And with the guys that are in this field right now, the talent that's here and the parity amongst the teams, if we had the rules packages like back in the 80s, 90s, with hardly any downforce, it really could be spectacular. And, I think NASCAR is aware of that possibility, and they're working that direction, and I think that makes me excited.
All right, Carl, we appreciate your time today. Cool. Thank you for spending a few extra minutes with us, and we wish you the best of luck this weekend.
All right. Thanks a lot, guys.